Oh, here's one that we were talking about today. 4K ProRes video, which was a thing that they talked about during the event. This is a pro video format that we use frequently in the studio. I've been using for ages. I used to buy special external recorders for the cameras I would shoot on so that I could have my video in ProRes. Because once upon a time, editing 4K video, computers just didn't like it all that much. It could lag. You could have performance issues, particularly if you had some exotic format for that video file. ProRes, on the other hand, was super smooth to edit with and had more flexibility, still has more flexibility when it comes to color correction and just making modifications after the fact. But there's bigger file sizes to go with it. Anyway, so Apple does the announcement that you're going to be able to get ProRes format recording inside of the Pro models of the next iPhone. However, one thing they didn't mention is that in order to use this feature, you cannot purchase the base model iPhone 13 Pro or iPhone 13 Pro Max. You have to step up to a minimum of the 256 storage. Now, it kind of makes sense. This doesn't seem like one of those things where they're really just trying to get more money out of you. Well, I mean, they don't mind. Mm-hmm. Like Apple they'll come to your door and collect your money, as most companies will.
Yeah.
It's kind of what being a company's about. However, having used ProRes in the past, I think there's a far more practical reason for this. The file sizes are enormous. Mm-hmm. You're probably not going to be able to record for very long, 128. You got your whole system there. You got whatever else you're storing on your phone, and then what's left over for ProRes, probably not enough to be meaningful. So they just figured out, okay, I'm going to cut it off at 256. Now, there's probably some other ProRes formats that could be a little bit more efficient, like 422LT. Like I've recorded all this stuff, so I don't know exactly how it's going to be implemented here, but it would make sense if you imagine yourself recording a lot of ProRes video that you wouldn't want a 128 anyway because of file sizes.
They don't mention it here on the site.
I know. That's the only thing.
Or at least on the buying options here.
You might hope that it was a little more transparent on that front, but...
But you probably want even more storage. Like you probably go to if you're into that kind of thing, you probably go on the 512 or the 1 terabyte.
Yeah, if you really imagine yourself producing an enormous number of ProRes files or shooting in that frequently, then yeah. Not a huge deal in that front. I think the only reason it's become an article is just because of transparency. Mm-hmm. And like, hey, you didn't say it in the event or you didn't say it on the website when you're about to order it. So presumably if somebody were to want to utilize that feature but not really do the math, go ahead and make the order. iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max support ProRes video recording in the camera app at 1080p 30 FPS with 128 and up to 4K. So you can shoot 1080p ProRes, which no one would want to do that in 2021. But if you want to shoot 4K ProRes, then you need 256, 512, and 1 terabyte options. So this is obviously listed somewhere on their site, but I guess some people want it represented just a little bit more.
Well, yeah,
prominently.
like you're right though. If they advertise that you can now shoot 4K on your iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max, then a guy like me goes and orders the 128, and then all of a sudden I'm hanging out and I'm like, oh,
you want to show off
I
your
didn't
feature
even know
to
it.
your pals.
Yeah.
You're like, look, I'm shooting 4K ProRes, and then you go to click the button and you don't, and they're like, you suck because you bought the 128. You cheapskate. You don't want to be that guy, right?
Yeah, I would be a little bit, I'd feel ripped off at that point if I did. And yeah, I probably wouldn't do the research, but that's not the type of situation I'm in. I'm not going for that anyways.
Well, all you got to do is be watching Lou Later or reading Mac rumors, and you get safe from this type of thing, man.
That's true. That's a good point.
You don't have to go down like that.
Well, maybe they'll make some changes. Maybe they'll get the feedback, and maybe they'll add
just
something.
put a disclaimer right there, right on the order page.
If you're listening, Apple, you should probably make that
right
change.
on the order page.
It wouldn't take much time.
Tim's listening. He's our number one fan. Please, into the camera. That's your camera right there.
Oh, well, I'm just saying it's a quick fix.
But
it's a real quick
say
fix.
Straight to Tim, that camera right there. To Tim.
Tim, you should make that change and add the disclosure. Disclosure or
disclaimer?
Disclaimer. Sorry. No.
Right on the order page.
You should. That would be fair to the people.
Okay. Do you think Tim's going to respond to
No,
you?
there's no way. He's probably not even watching this.
No, I mean, he definitely is. He's your number one fan. So